here, and I'm so glad to see so many candidates who are here wanting to run for office and make a difference. That's what it's all about. People who have the courage to step forward and want to make a difference. I observed what was happening around me, and I stood up, and I said to the nobles and the princes and to all the people, don't be afraid of them. Remember your God who is mighty and awesome. And fight for your brothers and your sons. Fight for your wives and your daughters. Fight for your households. Do not be afraid of them. You'll find those words in Nehemiah 4:14, as Nehemiah was encouraging the people of Israel to rebuild the walls around Jerusalem, which had been torn down by tyranny. And we find ourselves in a situation now where the candidates who are running must encourage the people to rebuild the walls of confidence and trust around those who are elected. Nowadays, when you say the word politician, most people, either it's in jest or derision. People don't have a lot of confidence, trust, and respect for those who are elected. And it is those who are elected their own fault. What we must do instead is elect those who will not look at public service for their own personal gain.
Amen. Yep.
Or for their capital cronyism, their friends, who again will turn around and help them for their own personal gain. Instead, we must elect those who look at public service as being a servant, who want to provide good public policy. Now, you can think in your own mind what good public policy is, but for me, it consists of basically four things. Number one, is it constitutional? Do you actually have the right, the authority to do that? I know we have some veterans out here in the audience, and I served in the Air Force myself. And the reason why, number one for me, is it constitutional is because I said an oath as I graduated first from the Air Force Academy, and then each time I was promoted as an officer. And I also said it just recently as I was sworn in the House of Representatives, that I do solemnly swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And I took that oath without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And any vet who's out here in the audience now will recognize that oath. And you'll also recognize this, that when you left office, you are still bound by that oath. There's no one who said you no longer have to abide by that oath. So you still must protect and defend the Constitution. So that's number one for me of good public policy. Number two, is it fiscally responsible? It's an awesome responsibility being in elected office, knowing that the money that has been entrusted to you, hard-earned working money that Mike was talking about, that it is used in the best manner to help the most people. To not just help your buddies, not just help those who are going to do favors for you, but what is going to be best for all the people. Number three, I think good public policy is you have to think long-term. What problems will this fix? It's getting past stage one, to where you think if we do this, then this will happen. No, you have to think a little beyond that. That takes some critical thinking, not just in the near term, but in the far term. Try and think 5 years out. What would happen if we did this? And then finally, for me, what I think provides good public policy is it morally sound? Now, for me, as a Christian, I have to use the Bible to do that. Because I've learned in my 56 years that if I try to make a decision what I think is right based on my own eyes, I can err. But when I make decisions on something that is more sound, a firm foundation, I'm less likely to err. So having all those four items in place, I think, makes good public policy. And that's what we want our elected officials to do, is to provide us with good public policy. So enough of me speaking. You want to hear these candidates you're going to elect to serve you in this upcoming election. I, by the way, am running also, but not in this district. I don't have a primary, but I do have a general election, and that's in District 2, which is the south end of Escambia, Santa Rosa County. So you want to hear the real stars here tonight. And it is my honor and privilege to introduce my friend, Ruth DuPont Esser. Ruth and I first met back in 2010. We're of like mind and like spirit. Ruth believes a lot of the same conservative issues that I do. And I want to turn the mic over to her and let you hear what Ruth has to say. Thank you.
So glad to have you all here, and thank you for coming out.